Win big with new DRF All Access past performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all 3 past performance formats. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code 1FREEPP for a free single card today.
Saturday stakes action at Churchill Downs. Race number 8 is the Grade 3 Ack Ack, which is a prep race now for horses that will hopefully be pointing to the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. I am Gino Buccola alongside David Aragona, and we are here to get you all set up for the Ack Ack. David, as you and I were getting ready to do this preview earlier on, you let me know that Mufasa will be pointing to the Vosburg. We actually saw some video of Mufasa getting off of the van. So Mufasa, who we see in this race, will be running in the Vosburg. So just at least a talking point. And I think that's important because Mufasa is a horse who would have been projected to be pretty close to the front end in here and maybe able to put a little pressure or make life difficult for Saudi Crown.
Yeah, I think that brings us right into the Timeform US Pace Projector as we see Saudi Crown is the odds-on morning line favorite. And Mufasa, while he's not shown in that second position, this Pace Projector will update when the scratch comes through on Saturday morning. And I believe when you take Mufasa out of this race, you're probably going to see that favors frontrunners indications show up on the Pace Projector after scratches, just kind of glancing through the running styles of the rest of the horses. And you kind of see that on paper too. From the outside post, Saudi Crown is just supposed to be in the driver's seat from a pace standpoint because Tumbarumba and Cagliostro, while they have tactical speed, I don't know if either of their connections want to sacrifice them to go after Saudi Crown, trying to push him through fast fractions in the early going.
Yeah, the one person who's going to be sad not to see Mufasa in here, my son Milo, he's now going to have to be focused on the Sunday races at Vosburg, in the Vosburg, because I'm watching and I'm hearing about Mufasa repeatedly over and over and over for my almost 5-year-old son right now. So scratch the 4. That'll put Saudi Crown probably dictating the way up front. Let's get to the field, David. Let's meet them. A really cool horse is Tumbarumba. He's a Grade 3 winner. He's multiple graded stakes placed. He has tactical speed. He wants to sit within about 2 lengths of the lead. Not necessarily be right on the lead, but he just wants to be right behind the leaders with the target. In his speed figures, he has 7 in a row from 95 to 97. You just know exactly what you're going to get from him, and he's really good at a one-turn mile. He just feels kind of a cut below Saudi Crown if he were to show up with his best effort, but I respect the heck out of this horse, and he's a really fun horse to watch and to root for.
Yeah, the other thing you know about Tumbarumba, in addition to his consistency, if he's in within a length of the leader at the top of the stretch, he's going to be fighting to be in a photo finish at the wire because he's got a lot of grit and fight to him. He doesn't always win those races, but he likes to be in photos at the end. Last time out, it just felt like Cagliostro got the jump on him in the Hampshire Stakes going this distance at Churchill Downs. I don't know if the plan was to miss the rest of the summer with this horse. It seems like there was a month gap in his workout somewhere, so maybe they were planning to run in a race that they had to skip. Now he shows up in this race 3 months later. He's got the tactical speed to be dangerous, but I don't love that he's drawn the rail again like he was last time, and I wonder if others are going to get the jump on him once again due to the post position.
Last year's runner-up is the number 2 Stage Raider, who is Grade 3 placed, but he really hasn't been competitive, David, since then. In the 5 races since last year, we just have not seen him progress or even get back to those big races that he ran in the first 2 starts for the DeVoe barn.
Yeah, initially off that trainer switch last year, it seemed like he was really heading in the right direction for Cherie, but things didn't work out when he tried to face Cody's Wish in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, and he just hasn't really been the same since then. I mean, he did completely blow the start of the Clark, so, I mean, you can draw a line through that effort, but even since then, coming back this year, he hasn't been the same horse, so he's a little tough to make in this race.
Another horse who's really honest and kind of a cool horse to root for is Cagliostro, who does not have many bad races. You can eliminate his last race. He stumbled badly at the start. He was only 3-1 in the Grade 1 Forego in a group that was kind of looking for a new face, and Mulliken went on and was pretty impressive in that one. But if you eliminate that race, the Forego, and you're looking at all of the form coming into it, Cagliostro's form looks even better now, David, when a horse like Highland Falls, who beat him in the Blame, comes back and wins the Jockey Club Gold Cup with a 104 Beyer speed figure. And going a mile and an eighth is probably a little bit farther than where Cagliostro might be at his best.
Yeah, and you'll see in the PPs it says stumbled at the start last time in the forego. There are some stumbles that don't really matter, and there are some stumbles that really matter a lot and just completely take away a horse's chances of winning. I think it was the latter case with Cagliostro last time in the forego. He stumbled very badly, gave up multiple lengths of position to the leaders that day, and you can't do that when you're trying to step up against Grade 1 company. As you say, stretching back out to the mile, it's probably the right distance for him. He's got good tactical speed. It just feels like Saudi Crown's a little faster, and it's going to be up to Jose Ortiz to decide how much pressure he wants to put on that rival and how much it's going to take away from his horse's finish if he really goes after Saudi Crown in the early stages.
Sometimes being in chase mode, that's a really difficult place to be in. It just takes a lot out of your horse. The number 4 is Mufasa, but worth mentioning that Mufasa will not be running in this race. He's going to be running in the Vosburg. So let's talk about 3 Technique, David. He is 0 for his last 7. Another horse who he had a stretch of races where it looked like he was starting to really improve, and he is a late runner from about 7 furlongs to a mile. So if the race is set up well for him, he can come closing. The problem is without a horse like Mufasa in here, will this race set up for him?
He actually ran really well to be third in this race last year in another situation where a Brad Cox runner had a pace advantage and he wasn't able to make up the ground into a slow pace. It just feels like since coming back as a 7-year-old, he has not recaptured his best form. He got pace to close into last time at Ellis Park against Saudi Crown, couldn't make inroads late in that race. Just feels like this horse's best days might be behind him.
Big Blue Line is proven at Churchill Downs. Is also entered in a turf stakes at Santa Anita over the weekend, but will step up off of that win last time out. He's just not that fast early, David. And again, when we're looking at the way that this race shapes up, not only am I a little concerned about him from a class standpoint, but then also from a trip standpoint. Will he get the setup he needs?
I did think he took a step forward first off the claim for trainer Will Walden last time. That was not a race that featured a ton of pace at Saratoga, and he always traveled in the bridle that day. And once he finally found a seam in the stretch under Flavian Pratt, he came through and finished very impressively to run down a pretty good horse in Rocket Can. But Rocket Can wouldn't exactly be competitive in this race, and Big Blue Line speed figures say he's a cut below. He's a horse that likes to come from off the pace. We don't foresee a ton of pace in here, so it just feels like there are some things working against him.
And rounding out the field is the heavy favorite, the number 7, Saudi Crown, who is a Grade 1 winner, a multiple graded stakes winner, last year's Pennsylvania Derby winner. He then ran in the Breeders' Cup Classic. He was actually only 7-1 in the Breeders' Cup Classic last year. This year, they're pointing to the dirt mile. So they come here in this 1 mile race, coming off of a 1 mile effort last time out. So to just get him perfectly prepared for that dirt mile. I think the major question I'll ask for him, and it may not even be as much about this particular race, because I think he is the speed of this race. He's the one they'll have to catch. It's if he needs to, can he sit off of other horses? Like if Mufasa were in here, would he be fine sitting off third to the outside? If for some reason there's another horse that gets aggressive, can he do that? It's probably one of the only real questions we have still to ask about him at this point, because he's the type of horse who's really solid when he gets the lead. He's very tough on the front end. He's drawn well in here. So in this spot, he's going to be very, very tough. And hopefully a good effort for him would put him as a top contender for the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile.
Yeah, you're kind of getting at my handicapping take on this horse in that I'm not completely convinced that he's come back as the same horse that now is a 4-year-old. We just haven't yet seen him show the brilliance since returning from that overseas trip that he displayed running in this country last year when winning races like the Pennsylvania Derby or running as well as he did, setting an extremely fast pace in the Dwyer. My feeling, though, is this probably isn't the right race to take a shot against him. That might come next time in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile when he could be a short price if he wins this race impressively. So we'll see how that works out. I do think that his return at Ellis last time was a little better than maybe the speed figure might suggest. You only got a 93 buyer, but you look at the pace of that race, it was pretty fast. And the horse that was chasing him, Pipeline, faded badly, but that horse just came to win, back to win against a good field at Churchill Downs last week. So it does feel like maybe that was a better return than it initially looked based on the visual impression. And just based on the post position, his tactical advantage, he's going to be pretty tough to beat in this spot.
David, I was trying to beat Saudi Crown when I thought that Mufasa was in the race. I had to say Mufasa because my son's right here getting ready for school, so I know he would get excited to hear that. But I just couldn't get all that creative now after that scratch. I thought this felt like a really good spot for Saudi Crown.
Yeah, especially with the outside draw. It seems like he's going to be in the driver's seat from a pace standpoint, and he might just be, I mean, he is the best horse anyway. We'll see if he's ready to deliver one of his best efforts on Saturday.
7-3-1-5 for me, 7-3-1-6 for David. We'll both put Saudi Crown on top as the heavy favorite in race number 8 on Saturday at Churchill. It's the grade 3 Ack Ack. Best of luck.
Hey buddy, you look like you're in need of a winner, and just remember, if you like and subscribe right over here, you can get all of the great content on DRF.com, including Race of the Day, stakes previews, and lots more, featuring me and my superb selections. Trust me, you're not going to regret it.